Hello, welcome to the CRL Show. Another big show coming your way. We've got our Polly's 13. Yes, we've selected our 13 politicians to represent us. I don't even know who they're going to play, but that's coming up. We've also got a new club making their debut. We'll talk about how they went on the weekend. I've also got maybe a record out Camden Way of some sorts. Plus, we've got the big hits of the week, tries of the week, a few interesting moments also coming away, plus all the usual stuff. That's on the CRL Show. Yeah, thanks for joining us. As I said, another big episode coming your way. Lots of footy on the weekend, Geoff. Did you get out and see anything?
Yeah, I went down to Illawarra and caught up with the West vs Collies game. We'll watch the result of later on in the show, or the culmination of the game. Yeah. It was a cracker of a game. It rained. It rained in a lot of places on the weekend. Some comps couldn't get going. Some had a few games cancelled. But if you're on the coast, it was sort of hit or miss. Like you either jagged some good games where there wasn't much rain. It poured down at West's on Thursday night. It was Thursday night footy, which was great.
Yeah, it was weird. It seemed so long ago. It was Thursday night. I was in the office on over the weekend, and the rain. I thought we were going to get washed out to sea at one stage. Yeah. It was that heavy here in the headquarters here in Newcastle, but some fantastic footy. Good to see a lot of comps getting on and playing through some of the weather. Maybe a few sort of angry councils maybe this week, but hey, it's good to see them out playing footy.
Yeah, I thought that too. I thought there was some where you thought, oh, they might have been able to get a game there. Others are like, I'm surprised that they ran on the field looking at how the weather had been. And it was depending on the day, because it was a long weekend. Saturday seemed to be okay. So I think some comps, Saturday games were great. Sunday was a write-off. So, no, it's great to see. And, for all those people that get mud out of boots and clean the uniforms, clean the jerseys and stuff, you got to credit that as well. It was one of those rounds.
Yeah, there was. It was one of those rounds, all right. There was plenty of good moments, some weird moments that happened on the weekend. But here's one in particular. A shout out to Dave Dryden. He jumps on the commentary a lot. He's helped BarTV out immensely over the years. It's really good to see. He's wearing the 13 on his back. If you're listening to this, Dave Dryden playing 13. He's also playing like first receiver and sort of two front rows, doing a run around, and Dave getting a meat pie. That might be his first try in about 20 years. So well done,
magic.
Dave. Yeah.
Well done.
Also, other magic moments. We'll get these up for you. And some interesting ones. So I'm going to say Tugun was first up. Magic moment, I'd have to say, keeps your undefeated season alive. So it's the last play of the match. Tugun's on their own side of halfway. They're playing Helensvale Hornets, who are improving every week. There's a lovely flick pass from Tim Cassidy, who's getting tackled. Kyle Williams puts the boot through, gravels it twice, gets the hand down, plants it down. That locks it up at 20 all. And you think, well, can he kick it from the sideline? 10 in from touch. Kyle Williams, who scored the try, had a lot of work to do.
There are fans trying their best to put him off behind the goal. But he got it through.
Yeah.
Nailed it. The pressure kick wasn't the easiest kick, and it was late, obviously very late. So, could have forgiven him for being a bit tired and things like that, but great finish.
A couple of bomb tries at St George, Illawarra Dragons v Manly Warringah in the knock-on effect cup. Here's the first one. Just very unlucky. Player for that one for the unlucky was Nick Suraganis, number 11, Jacob Sykes. Well done for Manly. Then the second one, moments later, first half, same type of thing. It was Raymond for Taylor Mariner running a great line, and it was Jack Arthur who got the hand in there. But yeah, we see bomb tries and stuff like that, but I don't think I've seen two very similar.
Same team, yeah.
And finally, at New Park in Kyogle, we had a camera bomber, or whatever you want to call it. Not sure if it was a wild turkey or just a crazy bird. But, we often like want to get a bird's eye view of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
The Bird wanted to get a cameraman's perspective on
Well,
things.
also, we never looked at BarTV catering to Twitchers. You know, if there are bird enthusiasts out there, maybe we could incorporate a bit of everything. You know,
Look.
the Twitchers could be watching the birds in the background, and the ones that attack the camera, and the footy fans can watch the footy.
Yeah, so just a couple of interesting moments that happened on the weekend. If you're a St George Dragons fan, don't worry, you won that game 36
I was going to say, just for the coach's sake, I was thinking, oh, God, I hope they won that game. I didn't caught up, but yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah. So we'll get into some results on the weekend. I said a lot of footy got played considering some of the horrible weather.
Yeah.
But Newcastle round 3, Wyong had a good win, 24-12 over the Northern Hawks. Lakes 32-10 over the Entrance. West 28-12 over Central. Cessnock 40-22 over Macquarie. And Maitland in a close one against South 20-18. West back on top of the ladder. It's been a while since we've seen the West Rosellas on top of the Newcastle Rugby League ladder.
Yeah, they're looking comfortable, and it might be signings, it might be who knows what. You know, they've had some quality players run out in the field the past couple of years, but sometimes maybe a team just clicks and they're going to be that kind of the West of old. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the season pans out.
Only 3 rounds in, and also Maitland looked pretty good considering they had an arm wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I meant. Like, it's sort of funny that it emulates not so much Penrith in the NRL, but Maitland feel like they're coming back to the pack just with their results, but they're still jagging wins.
Yeah.
So they're not dominating.
Yeah.
They're winning by 2. The Scorpions took it to them the week before, but 2 points are 2 points. So they're still bagging the points, but, you know, like you say, a long season to go.
All right, where else?
Yeah, on to Group 7, Round 3. They largely avoided a lot of the rain. They're quite lucky. Milton Ulladulla went down to won against Albion Park 14-6. Jamboree comfortable against Nowra 36-0. The Stingrays of Shell Harbour defeated Berry 48-14. And Kiama, that was a beautiful game to watch, the mini game. Beautiful views, but geez, it looked muddy and, you know, gross. But it was just one of those games. I couldn't take my eyes off. They beat Shell Harbour 12-0.
Bit of an upset, you'd say that. Kiama 12-0 over Shell Harbour. A lot of people tipped Shell Harbour Sharks to be a real threat this year. But Kiama,
Yeah, and that was when you thought of those games that were a bit muddy and they could have cancelled it. I thought of that one straight away. And they were good that they played it, but it was a bit of a, it had its moments.
All right, Canberra round 3. The Blues 38-10 over Gungahlin. Woden Valley 40-24 over Yass. Belconnen 32-24 over Goulburn. And then on Sunday, West Belconnen 16-12 over Tuggeranong.
Fantastic. Up to the Northern Rivers. I was pleased that so many of these games got going. Round 3, Morris Brothers and Mullumbimby was washed out as well, you know, so much rain up there. But Bilambil defeated Tweedheads 20-12. Coogin defeated Northern 26-14. Last week I told everyone Kyogle's a certainty for the premiership up there. And, of course, then they lost to Ballina on the weekend, 34-18. Tweed Coast defeated Casino 20-16. Lower Clarence, bit of an upset, 36-14 against Byron. And Evans Head, 34-20 against Moolumbar.
Yep, well done to the Lower Clarence Magpies.
Yeah,
Picked up a couple of wins early.
I know, yeah, it's one of those, they've had a few hard years, so they must be feeling great.
Illawarra was round 1, as we mentioned. Collies 28-26 over West's Illawarra. Final moment win there for the Collegians in very damp conditions. De La Salle 30-12 over Thurul, and Dapto 36-22 over Corrimal.
Right, now down to Group 9, Round 2. Young, comfortable against Albury at 44-10. Temora in a close one against South City, 22-20. Kangaroos, Wagga defeated Gundagai, 22-18. Junee in the Challenge Cup game, 50-10 against Brothers. I'm assuming there wasn't a 40.5 start against Brothers, so...
I think Junee had 15.5.
Had 15.5. Yeah. Okay, so they were comfortable. And Tumut, close one there against Cootamundra, 22-16.
Apologies, Brothers had 15.
Oh, I was going to say, but still, well enough, was it? It was all academic.
Okay, Central Coast was washed out for round 3, but Gold Coast, they got on. Runaway Bay 46-12 over Southport. Burleigh 28-16 over Currumbin. And the game that we just showed a few highlights, Tugun 22-20 over Helensvale.
Yeah, and Brisbane round 6, it seemed there was a bit of rain up there, but they got going. Carina, 26 points to 6 against Wynnum. West defeated Valleys 42 points to 12, and South defeated Logan 40 points to 16.
All right, Sunshine Coast, round 4. Beerwah 56-10 over Caboolture, Kawana 28-20 over Nambour, Noosa 20-14 over Maroochydore. There's a Burgess on the bench for the Pirates in that game, and Stanley River 32-12 over Caloundra.
Sounds like a turn of phrase, doesn't it? Burgess on the bench. Everyone needs one. Ipswich round 1, they kicked off up there in Ipswich and Fassifern defeated West End 48 points to 18. And it was a 30-all draw against Norths and Redbank, while the Brothers defeated Ipswich 32 points to 18.
All right, we'll move into some New South Wales Rugby League results. The Cup, the Knock-On Effect Cup, round 8. As we mentioned, Dragons 36-6 over Manly. Warriors 30-18 over Newcastle after Newcastle led 18-0. Parramatta 50-20 over South. Newtown 18-6 over West. Canterbury 34-18 over Penrith. And Canberra 36-26 over Norths.
Yeah, now in the Jersey Flegg round 8. Sydney, I guess, brought Silktails back to reality a little bit, 32 points to 10 after last week. The Dragons defeated Manly 20 points to 14. Warriors and Newcastle 18 all. The cracker of a game. Souths went down to Parramatta 32 points to 22. Cronulla comfortable against West 46-20. Penrith 25-24 against Canterbury, and Melbourne 52 points to 14 against Canberra.
Ron Massey Cup round 6. Mounties 24-20 over Glebe. St Mary's 42-22 over Canterbury. Wentworthville 28-18 over Hills Bulls, and Ryde Eastwood had a big win over Blacktown Workies 54-10.
Yeah, and Lisa Fiola Cup, these are the semi-finals, so a serious end of the season. On Saturday, Parramatta defeated Canterbury 22 points to 20 in a close one, and Central Coast defeated West Tigers 22-16. And the Tarshagale Cup on Saturday as well, Parramatta 18-8 against Canterbury, and the Indigenous Academy 30 points to 14 against Illawarra.
All right, Harold Matt's Cup semi-finals. These are played on the Sunday. The Warriors 28-8 over South Sydney, and Newcastle 26-20 over Central Coast. In the SG Ball, it was Parramatta 34-4 over Souths, and Sydney 28-4 over Canberra. Now,
Peter McDonald Premiership out west kicked off this weekend at round 1. I think they had not too much rain out there, which is good for everyone else. St Pat's defeated Bathurst in the Bathurst derby, 30 points to 10. Lithgow went down to Orange 26-10. Orange Sims defeated Mudgee 20 points to 18 in a kind of an upset, I guess. Dubbo in the Dubbo derby, Dubbo Sims defeated Dubbo Macquarie 20 points to 18, and Forbes defeated Parks 46-16, and Wellington defeated Ningen 20 points to 0.
Yeah, Peter McDonald Cup, it's not on BarTV, we'll just stress that. Yeah, if you're listening, we just thought, because it's, what do they call it, one of the premier comps for Country Rugby League, we thought we'd give you the results here. So,
hell yeah, great comp. Yeah. And I'd love to see it on BarTV if anyone can make that happen.
Might happen one day. Who knows? But, they're all the results from the weekend. We'll plenty of good results. So, with good results, there's always good tries. So, here are our tries of the week.
Fantastic.
All right, the first try, Kyle Williams. We might have seen it moments ago, the magic moments, but it was so good we thought we could not leave this out of tries of the week. Look at this flick.
That flick. That's just, it was desperation in a way, because they were, down with moments to go.
And the put down by Kyle Williams. I did slow that down. He did get it down, so well done.
Brilliant.
Brendan O'Hagan, the entrance Tigers, Denton Cup, Newcastle.
Out the back they go. Pello, he's beat one here. It's wrapped up by Potts and offloads to O'Hagan, and the Tigers are in. And that's the danger of Tony Pello.
Conor McFadden, De La Salle, Southern Sydney Cup.
Levido. To the line. They fling it out the back to the wing and they score! De La Salle are over! In the corner! With Conor McFadden.
Drew Hutchinson, Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, New South Wales Cup.
Last tackle, back it comes. Kick from O'Neill. No, they put it through their hands down the short side, inside, outside. Do-si-do, trytime.com. That was beautiful from Canterbury Bankstown.
Callum, Gromek, Collegians, Illawarra Harrigan Cup.
Could this be their last chance? Long ball out to New. He's going for the crossfield kick. Kickers are on. Comes in the McCann, flicks it out the back. Herring puts it on the boot. It's in the in goal. It sits up. It's a try! It's a try to Callum Gromek. Well, that ball landed in the puddle of the water and absolutely stopped. Callum Gromek's got onto the ball. The crowd's gone wild. Well, so unlucky there.
There were some absolute rippers this week, Geoff.
Yeah.
Can you pick one?
Well, look, the game I was at, the Illawarra, Callum Gromek, who we talked about last week, coming back from the New South Wales Cup. I mean, the puddle. We're going to talk about the puddle. Like, do you aim at the puddle if you're the kicker? It was just, for those listening, there's just one puddle. It had flogged down, it poured down all game. It stopped raining about 10 minutes before full time. So you look at the vision there, it didn't look too bad. But there weren't many puddles anywhere in the. I didn't really see any. There was one puddle in the in goal, and I reckon the kicker aimed at it. I don't know whether he nailed it if he did, and the ball just stopped. Just a fantastic try to win the game. It wasn't just like a great try. There was a few winning tries on the tries of the week, so it's fantastic to watch that. If you're going to pop out a really good try, do it at the end to win the game. But no, the great skill, especially in the wet. I think pretty much all those games probably on the tries of the week were in damp conditions, if not absolutely soaking. So some of the ball skill was just amazing. Yeah,
shout out to some of our commentators and camera operators as well. But commentators, some great commentary on that. Especially Drew Hutchinson's try. Well done to Nick fantastic for calling that one. But some great tries. If you've seen better, let us know via our social media channels or contact at bartv.com.au. We'd love to see them and we'd love to share them. There's just that many to get through. Normally it's just by word of mouth. Sometimes we get some of these tries through, which are absolutely sensational. But thank you if you are one of those people that send them through. And if you're not, well, maybe you should. Yeah,
for sure. Especially for people, you don't have to be the player involved, but geez, if you're their relative or something, or if you are the player involved, maybe word up your relative and say, you should let the CRL know about that. I don't want to be the one doing it, but, let them know about that try, because some of the stuff, like, you need that to be showcased, because there was some great ball play and great skill.
Absolutely, yeah. So thanks again to those contributors. But anyway, we'll move on, mate. Let's get into around the groups.
Rightio. There's a little bit to discuss. There's still a little bit of. We've got 1 week before the election, so we've still got a little bit of politicians wandering around promising stuff, which we'll get onto soon. One thing I want to highlight, they kind of missed leading into the preseason, is the creation of another club. Like, we have so many clubs that come out of hiatus, or they play reserve grade and come back to first grade. It's rare, I think Wangaratta last year, but it's pretty rare that a club just starts from nowhere, because it takes, I'm assuming, a lot of work, commitment and organisation and teamwork amongst people who have never probably even had much to do with each other. The Googong Goannas, what I'm talking about, they're now in the George Tooke Shield. Googong, for those who are wondering, I thought I heard it around somewhere. It's sort of south of Queanbeyan, so it's a little bit south of Queanbeyan. Probably people there can still kind of go to Canberra and stuff, so it's not that far away. It's sort of one of those newer, I'd say it's based on an older township or village, and they've built a lot of housing around there. So it's a full credit to the folks out there that have made that happen. They had their first game. So their first game ever means that the first try scorer ever scored a try. They went down to North Canberra 36-6, but Jacob Toro, the 15, for the Googong Goannas, goes down in history as the first try scorer for the club, which I think is always something that you can have forever and attach yourself to say, look, I was the first, sort of thing. So, there was talk about them wanting to put a club together over the years. Of course, COVID slowed a lot of people down when they had those ideas, but they have got it up and running, and it's great facilities down Duncan playing fields. They're kind of new facilities down there too. So full credit to the folk down in Googong. The Goanna was named because the people who helped found it, the founding family were from the Wiradjuri tribe, and Goanna is their totem. So I thought that's a good connection as well. You kind of don't just picked it out of nowhere or anything like that. Now, Googong Terriers. Now, they're celebrating our 10-year Old Boys Day for their 2015 premiership. They won 2 years ago, so they'll be doing the one, in the future for that one, I guess. But one thing also, they're also celebrating, I guess, on Old Boys Day, the 2015 establishment of their Ladies League tag team, which made me think, I guess in the future we're going to have old girls' days, old ladies' days, or because Old Boys Days, it's just a name. But there's also a lot of sentiment to that as well, that as the women's leagues are progressing over the years, we need to celebrate, previous competition wins or the establishment of a team. So one of the first times I've seen like an Old Boys Day also tribute one of the ladies' sort of achievements. So that's fantastic. It's on the 12th of July, so if you're out Googong way, your cracker of a game to go to. Yeah. The Cootamundra Bulldogs I love infrastructure. I get a little bit excited about. So, I'm not boring anyone, but they've opened a new announcers box, which may interest announcers and commentators, I'm assuming. They are welcome in there as well.
Probably there's no chance the commentators will be able to get in there. You could just imagine, I could be totally wrong here. Yeah. Apologies to Cootamundra, but you just imagine there'd be just one person in there and that's his room.
That's it.
He's not leaving until...
Well, he's probably very happy right now because he's like, I've got my new room. Anyway, it was named after Ned Miller, who was a 40-year volunteer. He's been involved in Cootamundra. I really like also that it was put together through tradies and volunteers and the council. So everyone's kind of put it together. It looks like a great box. And they got Ned down there with his grandkids to kind of open it and that kind of thing. I love stuff like that. Cootamundra Rugby League is just on the up at the moment. They're back in the comp and they're just kind of good things are happening. So Camden Rams, we were talking earlier about it could be a record. I'm not really sure. But first of all, we've got a keen eye on the Camden Rams because they were the Clayton's Cup winner last year. Yeah. Means that they didn't lose a game last year and they're undefeated after 3 games this year. I think the last time they lost was September 2023. That was the grand final. That year, they only lost 1 other game. So they've lost 2 games in 2.5 years at the moment.
That's a pretty damn good record. Yeah.
It's a good record. It makes you realise how hard the Clayton's Cup is. As good as that record is, they got 1 Clayton Cup. Like they've only lost 2 games, and they still haven't. 2023, they lost 2 games, so they didn't qualify or they didn't claim it. On the weekend, they beat Mittagong 40 points to 16. Jackson Willis, a 5'8", scored 28 points in the game.
That's a fair haul.
4 tries and 6 goals. It's a good haul. Like sometimes you see comps where, like games where it might be a 60-point blowout, but with 40 points, he scored 28 of the 40 points too. So he scored a huge percentage. It's actually the son of those oldies that may remember him. He's not that old, is he? Andrew Willis, who was, I think he played in the halves at some stage.
Yeah, and I remember years ago, Friday night footy, he kicked a bomb of a field goal to St Norths maybe in the semi-final.
Yes. And I just remember him in Magpies colours. I like the white and black rather than black and white jersey for some reason, let you know. But of that area too, Camden is MacArthur, so it's good to see a kind of a boy with a bit of a heritage for that, connections for his dad. What I find, I'd love to know what Jackson thinks about this. I'm sure he's fine, but he scored 28 points and still couldn't nail man of the match. He shared man of the match, so he did sort of get it, but he shared it with a front rower, Bailey Dickinson.
Okay. He must have got a lot more try assists or something.
I don't know. Like Bailey, I'm not talking him down. Maybe they have like this idea of, we've got to credit a prop or a forward and a back or a half. But geez, 28, what more do I need to do, So anyway, so good on Jackson Willis and good on the Camden Rams kicking on. It'll be interesting to see what happens next with them because winning 2 Clayton's Cups in a row is quite rare. Or winning 2 at all is quite rare. And I'm going to start talking a lot more Clayton Cup. For those who have listened to this show over the years, I'll be talking more and more as the season progresses. Lastly, more politician promises. Again, this one at least has been put out there. It's really only based on whether the Liberal Party gets elected in. So you've really got to, when you go to the ballot box, weigh up how badly you want the candy versus what are you going to get in the end? Evans Head are going to get, if Liberals are voted in, new lighting. It's going to be a political lighting Country Rugby League year, really, because of the Glen Innes were promised a few weeks ago by Barnaby Joyce, who came to town to promise them new lighting. No incidents reported, mind you, with Barnaby Joyce and Glen Innes. It all went well. And yeah, Kevin Hogan, the MP at Evans Head, is hoping to get voted in and has promised lighting. What I would hope is forget the politics of it. Whoever does or doesn't get voted in, these issues are still going to be there, and the other party should just stump up the money.
Yeah.
Like really, like it's not like it's one thing when they're promising tax cuts and all this other stuff, but when it's actual community infrastructure for teams and local community groups, just find the money, you know. So that would help a lot. Evans Head have had a fair few decent renovations to their ground over the past few years from memory, and it'd be nice to, like, proper lighting, like we were saying the other week, with the sun setting so early, you want to train, you can't do it through the week unless you've got proper lighting. You just have to, you can't get there after working time. So yeah, promises, but we will hope that Evans Head get their lighting and Glen Innes do too.
Yeah, no, excellent. They could probably move a couple of the poles out of the grandstand. That'd be great. Evans Head, if you've watched games from Stan Payne, you probably know what I mean.
Well,
it's a small grandstand, but there's a lot of poles holding the roof up.
I was going to say, I thought maybe some of those poles might have held the current lighting and they'd get rid of them.
Could be.
But doesn't sound, he's hoping. But yeah, that again, it's a time of year where there's announcements and promises or ribbon cutting. There's nothing in between. So if you haven't got it built already, you're going to get a promise, and let's hope in the next election cycle you actually get the ribbon cutting as well.
Yeah. And the other thing you mentioned too about the announcers box. I know it's an announcers box, but obviously we go to a lot of venues and BarTV, and there is a lot of media boxes, but oddly enough, the media they can't use the media box because it's being used for another purpose. So,
right, okay.
I just find it amusing that they should relabel it or something.
What would happen in a media box normally? You actually do work in there as a media, do your job.
Well, it's funny. I was at a local stadium here not too long ago, and the local journalists, media, were in a room, and it was so quiet. It was weird. I was going in and out getting a camera and helping our camera operator. I thought, what a shit place to sit. I don't want to be it was so silent. It was like North Korea, I guess. But,
I was imagining,
I want to be sitting out in the crowd watching, not bloody in this glass box. But anyway,
I thought it'd be the opposite. But I guess maybe they're all they don't want to share what they're thinking about, because they're like, I'm writing a story. I don't want you to get the same idea.
Could have been that I walked in the room too.
Oh God, here he is again. Yeah. Oh, Jesus, calls himself caller. Who knows?
Yeah. All right.
That's my round the groups.
Well, we've got one more thing. We've got our politicians 13. Obviously, there's an election coming up this weekend.
Yes.
So we thought we'd go through some of our pollies and pick our 13. So if we had to pick a rugby league team out of politicians, first of all, we'd have to find a team. They could probably take on the world 13 of politicians.
Yeah, it'd be good if they introduced it into some sort of like some of those conferences they have, like CHOGM, the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Yeah. They could just have a CHOGM cup where each nation brings their own team. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, so put together our politicians 13. We'll go through these for you. Our fullback, Salle Stegel, former Olympian, slalom bronze medalist, I think. So she'd be pretty light on the feet with the kick returns.
Arguably already probably the most, probably the most fittest, probably the one that could actually probably play a full game.
Yeah.
In the whole team, because she looks probably like some of them do look like they got bellies and they look like they haven't lifted their legs for a while. So no, she could actually pull off fullback. She'd do a good job.
Our first wing spot goes to Clive Palmer. Now we're not taking the piss, but he's a former Southport Tigers winger. So that's why Clive Palmer gets a start on the wing.
Maybe the only rugby league player in the team.
Quite possibly.
That's what it put. Yeah. I see him as a Matt Utai kind of winger, you know, but pushes, uses his strength.
Plenty of talk out the wing too to give his teammates encouragement too. First centre positions, Michael McCormack, member of the Riverina, did a little bit of journalism, sport journalism, and believe also played a bit of rugby. Yeah. So we thought, we better slot him in.
Yeah, Riverina player, you know, like they come quality down that way. So no doubt
he's a good sportsman. Yes.
Yeah.
Angus Taylor, member for Hume, also played a bit of rugby, I believe, sort of Cowra way.
Yeah. He's from out that way. So anyone that wants to send in any information or stories they've got about some of these these pollies that may have, they say, oh yeah, I played with him, or yeah, he was great, or he eye-gouged a player one day or something,
Peter Dutton, opposition leader, obviously, but he has a bit of a Wayne Bennett vibe for mine.
Yeah.
Wayne Bennett played on the wing. So that's where we slotted Big Pete in.
Yeah, definitely. What more can I say? There's a lot of really high-quality ball players out there, not just in over the years, but there'd be current ones in country teams you can think of right now that he'd slot in well there with.
Yeah, absolutely. Our 5'8". Now, there could be some controversy in this one maybe. James Patterson. I don't even know if he's played rugby league or if he's played any sport.
Yeah.
But I don't know, he just gives off a bit of a Darren Lockyer look.
Yes.
So that's the only reason we picked him.
I think he's only grown a beard because he was getting mistaken for him so often. He was like, I've got to do something here. Everyone thinks so. Everyone's waiting for the husky voice.
Yes. Our halfback is Jackie Lambie. Now, you think of rugby league and politics, think of Jackie Lambie, Tommy Raudonikis. She's going to fight for everything, doesn't mind a scrap. So I think she's our halfback for sure.
Yeah, definitely. She'd be. I can see her like really pushing into like almost dummy half, even though she's not a hooker. Screwing in for a try, kind of that kind of person.
Yeah, well, she'd easily walk over our hooker maybe. Our front row now, Dan Rapaccioli. Yeah, he's probably the biggest human in the world. Also an Olympian, member for the Hunter. He's going to take the hard yards for us.
Yeah, I'm thinking when I see him, I think offloads.
Yeah,
he'd be good.
Yes, for sure. Our second front rower is Barnaby Joyce, member of New England. Look, he really is our first pick. Yep. Not that we know if he actually has any ability. He always likes getting in and having a game here or two, just because he takes a great photo in action playing footy.
Yeah, that's right. And probably of all the people, he's the most passionate rugby league man in the team. So he'd be very keen, I reckon, if you could pull it off.
Right, our dummy half is Anthony Albanese, obviously current Prime Minister, Souths fan. So I thought Mario Fennick was a great South Sydney hooker. Yeah. Put Albanese in there.
You could see him, I want to see someone doing that. You see him strap his hair up like Mario did, strap his ears up and stuff, and he would pull it off, I reckon.
Yeah. Our back rowers, Jim Chalmers, the treasurer. Tall, lanky lad, played a bit of basketball from Logan, another area where a lot of good rugby league players come from. So we think Jim Chalmers in the back row on the edge could do a bit of damage.
Yeah, I can see a bit of a fend. I can imagine that, that like second rower that can just fend players. He'd pull that off.
And you need a mongrel in your pack.
Yeah.
And I think Bob Catter fits the bill, member for Kennedy. So, he could get the team in a bit of strife. Give away a few penalties, I think. But,
there's no, it doesn't matter what sport, everyone has that guy in a team. Even if you're watching now, even if you just play amateur level, everyone knows the guy. You'll be thinking of, or guy or gal, you'll be thinking of him now. That he's a bit mad. You've got to look after him at the pub a little bit. He'll disappear for a while, that kind of stuff. It's like that's the Bob Catter.
And finally, our lock forward. If we didn't put him in, there would have been a lot of our cry. David Pocock, the senator. Apparently he's played a bit of rugby. Yeah. 83 odd tests for the Wallabies. So,
Him and Clive are the two people that have played the rugby codes in the team, which is really weird in a way. Apart from you did you miss someone?
I probably did.
Not the number 10.
Number 10, Barnaby Joyce. We put him in.
Did you mention him though?
Yeah.
Oh,
I said he's our first pick.
Oh, yeah, he's our first pick. Sorry, I did miss it. I was just. What can I say about him? I think suspensions would be his go-to. They'd be constantly at the judiciary.
Him and Bob.
Back chat. He gets that angry ant stuff. Stuff will go wrong. There'll be fists thrown and okay, off you go in the bin, that kind of stuff. So, great team there. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think we've done well. There's no Queensland or New South Wales bias in there.
No, not
even split.
Definitely no Western Australian bias or anything like that. Yeah. You're very good at selecting players that probably know a lot more about rugby league than some others in other parts of Australia.
Yeah, and a couple of Hall of Fame inductees this year too. Mal Meninga.
Yes.
Probably the shortest career in politics, about 8 seconds. Paul Osborne.
Yeah, Aussie.
Front row from Canberra.
Yep.
Another front rower, Glenn Lazarus.
Yes.
Another Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And I could imagine being the coaching staff, or they're the ones, like they have in the Australian and Origin teams, those kind of like legends that follow them around a little bit and support them and run the water and that kind of stuff. They'd be fantastic for that.
Yeah, so they're our politician 13. So the election's happening this weekend. There's no prizes, sorry guys. Maybe some infrastructure coming your way if you vote for any of them.
And vote for whoever you like. We're not saying to vote for these people just because we think they'd be a great rugby league team. Really based it on lots of reasons other than that. But no, that was a great team you put together there, Paul. And you look at some of those players, you think, that whole forward pack, I was looking at it going, that's not a bad pack, really. You've got some tall guys there. You've got some strength. You've got a guy that actually has played a little bit internationally. It's a cracker of a team.
Poor old David Pocock's going to do a lot of tackling.
And Clive will be in his ear all the time. People like you and I, played the game before, or talking about all the tries he scored in Southport. I don't know stats. It'd be lovely if someone could share Clive Palmer's playing stats with us. He may have been a bit of a try-scoring merchant.
Yes, yeah. All right, that's around the groups.
Beauty.
Yep, lots going on. As I said, that 13 Polly's team, look out. Not sure who they're going to play, if they'll ever get off the ground. But, maybe if your team's a couple of numbers short, maybe a couple of those guys can pull on a Guernsey.
I'd be interested as a nation. They say PNG is a nation, where rugby league is its national sport. I wonder if their parliament may actually have a fair few old players that could actually give a team the run for their money, or Fiji or something like that. I don't know. But, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, look out. We'll watch this space. All right, move right along. We'll get into big hits of the week. Now, I don't know what, there was something in the air this week maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it was something in the rain coming down, but there was certainly a lot of good big hits. Here they are.
Fantastic.
All right, first up, Cole Waaka. He was always going to be in the big hits of the week.
Wham.
Lovely shots.
What a whack.
We got Jeshua Maa-Nelson of Windsor Wolves Open grade.
I tell you what, that's nearly as bad as, I don't know who said the quote, or I don't know what the quote
Cody
is.
McLaughlin, Runaway Bay Seagull.
It's a signal anyway. It's a quick tap by Bustle. Oh, squashed by McLaughlin. Nicely read by the back rower.
Jake Walker, Young Cherrypickers.
Good football around. Murray get from the ball and Munro to return it. Oh, what a shot. Crowd got to that one too. Takey Walker didn't miss him.
And finally, Hyaden Pratt, Kyogle Turkeys.
So Wake goes now to Roberts. Oh! Solid hit! You might see that on the CRL show come Wednesday.
Big hits of the week. That I said, we had a lot of entries this week, but we can only pick 5. I mean, I guess it's our bloody show. We can pick more. But
we can have a whole podcast now of just big hits.
Big hits,
The big hits podcast. I think the wet weather, I don't know what it is about. It might slow down the attacking player. I'm not really a coach or been a player, but you wonder whether that is giving some of these forwards a chance to really line up there.
I think too, a lot of these comps have been stop-start. They played around, then they had Easter last weekend off or whatever. So they're
fresh and angry. Yeah. They really, really want to tackle. They've spent the weekends going, I just want to tackle something really hard.
It's for another story off air. One of the comps we look after. I shouldn't say that. But there's talking about angry people. But
oh, really? Okay.
We'll leave that for another show.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. All right, coming up footy-wise this weekend on BarTV, there's still lots happening. Obviously, it's this Magic Round happening up in Queensland, so there's a few comps taking another week off.
Why not?
But it is finals time in the New South Wales Rugby League Junior Reps. It's been a privilege covering it on BarTV this year. There's been some great footy. Good insight. Obviously, there's going to be a few sort of superstars, but obviously a few NRL players of the future possibly in some of these teams. But SG Ball, Parramatta v Sydney Roosters, Harold Matthews is New Zealand v Newcastle, Tasha Gale, Parramatta v Indigenous Academy, and Lisa Fiola, Parramatta v the Central Coast. Parramatta's done pretty well.
They have, and like we're saying, it's been great to watch some of the footage and the games. the energy that you get in some of these younger teams and competitions blows me away. When there were games up at Cessnock, it was in the mid-30s temperature-wise. They were doing runaway tries and then popping up after scoring and dashing back to it. And I'm like, wow. Like, I think, or even any decent rugby league player would be like, no, I'd be exhausted after that. So it's great to see these young guys and gals doing so well. Now, knock-on effect cup is into round 9. Saturday at Newtown, Parramatta are up against Parramatta at Saturday at 3 o'clock. I said I was going to be excited there, thinking of Henson Park. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Norths play the Warriors. Again, 1 o'clock, Souths are hosting Newcastle. Penrith play Canberra at 2 o'clock. On Sunday, West hosts the Dragons at 2:15 and Sydney hosts Canterbury at 3 o'clock Sunday.
Jersey Flegg, round 9. Cronulla at Henson Park against Parramatta. Melbourne hosts the Warriors at Seabrook. At Redfern, we've got Souths and Newcastle. Penrith take on Canberra at Parker Street. West Tigers do battle with the Dragons at Lidcombe. And Sydney Roosters and Canterbury, as you mentioned, at Wentworth Park. And Manly and Cavite Silktails on Sunday at 12 o'clock.
And Ron Massey Cup, round 7. Mounties are hosting Wentworthville. St Mary's are up against the Hills Bulls. Penrith Brothers against Riders Eastwood. And Blacktown are hosting Canterbury.
Newcastle, round 4. Lakes are at home to Central. West also at home to Macquarie. The feature match is Souths v Curry at Townsend Oval. Fingers crossed the rain stays away. On Sunday, you got the entrance hosting Cessnock, and Northern Hawks and Maitland do battle at Lakeside Raymond Terrace.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, Canberra round 4. We've got Tuggeranong hosting Belconnen United. Queanbeyan Kangaroos against Woden Valley. The match of the round will be Queanbeyan Blues. Great game, this one against West Belconnen. And Yass are home to Gungahlin.
Illawarra round 2. Collies and Corrimal. And then we've got Dapto hosting Delo at the dog track, and then Thurul travel to take on West at Sid Parish. That is the feature match, I believe.
Yeah, that'll be a great game.
Yeah.
Now, Group 7, Round 4 will be kicking off. We've got Berry hosting Kiama. Gerringong are up against Milton Ulladulla. Nowra are up against the Stingrays. Shell Harbour are up against Albion Park, and that'll be the match of the round as well.
Brisbane round 7, even though Magic round's happening in Brisbane, the BRL said no.
You've got a choice. You can go to Magic Round, or you can go to watch a Brisbane A grade.
Yeah, and I'd rather watch Redcliffe v Valleys any day of the week. That is the feature match. Also, Logan's hosting Wynnum, and West Panthers battle with Carina. That will be a good game too, Western Carina.
Yeah, no matter what game it is, you can actually, if you're going to Magic Round heading up that way, you can watch BarTV on your phone, because they're going to be long days, and there might be some parts of the game you're like, I need to watch something else, like my team's losing or whatever. Okay, Northern Rivers Regional Rugby League, they are having and so are the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast. We're all having buys, so Magic Round can go unaffected. The crowds for those comps might draw teams fans away, maybe, but I'd say also a lot of the players will want to go watch it.
I know a lot of the comps, they do have sort of like weekends away. I know I think it was Curry had the bye, and they saw the day, we got a bye, so they took a whole group up there. So maybe that's something other comps can look at. But look, I mean, I guess too, they've had Easter, come back, played a week, and then another week off. It's going to be hard for some of these teams to get into some type of rhythm. But,
and I mean, maybe a discussion for another time, but maybe they could have a match of the round or a match at Lang Park, like some of these comps, before the 3 games every weekend. I mean, I know people are going to say, the ground will get cut up and all that kind of stuff, but how good would that be? So you could start, I think the NRL games start at 1 in the Arvo or something. You could have an 11 o'clock kickoff for some of these other games just for one game, but get a wider audience to some of these comps.
Something to think about for Newcastle Rugby League too. The women's Magic Round being played at McDonald Jones, whenever that is. I can't think of the date off the top of my head, but why not get a Newcastle Rugby League Premiership game on?
Hell yeah.
In there somewhere.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I really think so. You just put on earlier on, and those early arrivers will go, what's this? And sometimes I've arrived at grounds like that. There's nothing happening, and you think, look, I might as well be watching something else going on right here. Anyway, Group 9, down to Group 9, which will be running round 3. The Wagga Kangaroos host South City. Albury hosting Brothers. Tumut are up against Gundagai. Young play Cootamundra, and Junee are up against Temora. in, I'm assuming, the Challenge Cup fixture. I don't know whether you know whether this is much of a start.
Yeah, I think Junie's got the start, maybe 8.5 start, 9.5 start. That could be wrong, but as we're recording this, So
interesting.
Josh McCrone still running around there?
I don't know. I think he would be bouncing around there somewhere. I know, if not in a coaching position. I don't quite know.
Yeah, and the Saturday game will be Tumut v Gundagai, so that'll be a good one. There's a fierce rivalry there between those two clubs.
Yeah, we'll be watching that one.
Where are we? Central Coast round 4. Still not sure what the feature match is there, but the entrance host, King Cumber, Erina at home to Berkeley Vale, a Rimbadoo battle with Wyong and Woi Woi at home to Tukley. Terrigal have the bye. All games Sunday. That's pretty much it for fixtures. Obviously, there's plenty of footy happening around your local area, but they're just the games that are on BarTV. If you can't get out to your local ground this weekend, you can always tune in and watch more than a few on BarTV Sports.
Definitely, and that's certainly what I did over the weekend. And one of those rainy days, you think, I'm going to be sitting at home watching the movie of the week or a repeat of some reality show. No, I'm not. I'm going to see what's on BarTV. And I was bouncing around all sorts of comps. I was up at Brisbane A grade, and then I had a look at the sunny coast, and I was down at Group 9. It was fantastic.
Yep, so we're almost done. Now, if you are listening to this, you've made it all this way through via the podcast, there are other channels. You can obviously watch this show on YouTube, obviously on the BarTV website. And if you want to watch any of the games from the highlights we've seen, bartvsports.com. Subscriptions are $20 a month. Half of that goes back to your local comp club, depending on the comp. But there's certainly plenty of options out there. It's a good way to support local rugby league. So we've got the New South Wales Junior Reps this weekend. So there's plenty to get through and to watch. But support local footy.
There's certainly there's the BarTV app, which I find fantastic. It's such a range now, because if you're into your NRL, then you're subscribing to watch New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flegg, keeping an eye on some of those lower grades of your team. But while you're there, you might be interested in watching some Group 9, or you want to watch down a South Coast, and have a little peruse of that as well. For those listeners as well who want to watch, you'll discover that we're pretty good on the eye as well.
Yeah.
Those viewers would agree with us, wouldn't you?
Well, depending on your standards, but yeah.
I look better than I sound. Is that the right way to say it?
Okay.
Doesn't mean I could sound horrible, but anyway.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. We're going to leave it on that note. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for joining us on the CRL Show.
Cheers.